So I think Simon will probably show up in a moment. So anyway, let's just start by checking in. So tell me how you feel today, people.
Good. System up and running. So I can see your faces.
Good. And your face seems more clear today.
I've changed environment.
I see. Okay. Letitia, how's your morning?
My morning is slow and steady. I feel like I'm catching up on E Prime and watching videos about it. So that was fun.
Cool. And I was trying from the start to speak in E Prime, but I noticed I already failed, but I'll do better.
That's why we call it an experiment.
Yeah, that's why it's an experiment. So okay. So Ron, how do you feel today?
I feel the difference this winter in the Chicago weather. It's considerably warmer. Wait a minute. Oh, uh-oh.
It is.
Let's see. I feel the... Oh, I said let's. I feel the difference in the weather this year.
Good. Cool.
In Chicago.
Okay. All right. Simon, how do you feel today?
I feel a little stressed because I was going to do something different and computers didn't want to cooperate. I couldn't log in until just now. I've been trying for 15 minutes. I finally did it.
Okay.
I'm okay other than that. The temperature outside is about 2 degrees in near Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
All right. Okay. So Joachim, hello. How does your day feel?
Hi, Fleming, up there in the International Space Station.
Yep.
Next time you need to float. That'd be even better.
That would be more impressive, yeah.
You're already doing it. That's good, yes. I'm back. All right, hi everyone. Hi from Brooklyn, New York. It's let me just convert the temperature. It's 7 degrees Celsius here in Brooklyn today. A nice day, finally sunshine, and I'm looking at all my social media and information channels here, boiling over this morning. So I have lots of reading to do after this.
Cool. All right. So the experiment today is to speak in E Prime. Suggested topic is about the world. That sounds very general, but we'll see. And just as a reminder, in E Prime, we speak without using the verb to be or is or am or anything like that. That might turn out to be damn difficult. Well, I said am, but anyway, the idea is that we try to see how that works, and I don't know what we do to we probably notice it right away when we're doing something else, and the idea is to avoid identification and authoritatively saying what something is when none of us really is sure about it. So we'll see how that happens. Anyway, to start with, I suggest that we start from our bodies, from what you feel and sense. So I suggest that all of you take a moment to find your physical body and the space that you find yourself in. Take a few deep breaths and feel the ground under you, either in the form of the chair or the floor you're standing on. Notice the many parts of your body, your head, your shoulders, your arms, the trunk of your body, your hips, your thighs, your legs, and your feet. And just notice that everything is there. Do whatever personal exercise you have to feel yourself more in your body, more relaxed and more in your senses. And then whenever any of us feels inspired to say something, just go ahead.
I noticed not that I can do E prime very well, but I noticed in a few attempts that it seems to help to focus on actions. So what happens rather than a snapshot of something which is probably characterized by the word quote is unquote.
I can see that. It's sort of, if I'm taking action, if I'm doing something, that appears like a safe thing to talk about, because I feel a truth in taking action.
Mm-hmm. An action can be described as a thing, however, so it's not a foolproof thing. It's just, but I did notice going there.
So yeah, so saying is sort of, well, it appears like freezing the situation, trying to hold it in a certain state. This is what it is. So when in motion, that doesn't happen so much.
Seemingly, apparently, yes, right.
I experience it as very difficult to not say is. Feels a little more mental than I would like it to be. I would like an experience where I can focus on my senses, being present. I hope that this experience can function that way.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Fleming. I struggle to find other verbs to replace it, right? Feel appears to, you see, I cannot define it, right? Oh my.
At least we're having fun.
I think so.
We did for a moment there anyway.
I see a video screen with 6 pictures of you people.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that seemed safe to say. And
It seems to be that Mila is hiding.
aha, she appears to. Damn.
This is fun. Oops, sorry.
Whoops. It appears fun.
It seems to be fun.
It feels fun.
It feels enormously fun.
Hugely.
Huge.
How does everyone feel today?
There you go again.
It's a challenging question.
Yeah.
I feel a little confused.
I have to pause for every word that is coming. Oh, that comes out of my mouth.
Maybe that teaches us mindfulness.
Yes. So I wonder how challenging this experiment would be. Is that would? It's okay. Would be for everyone.
I feel the unlearning. I feel an unlearning, unraveling process. I feel discomfort, uneasiness, stuckness.
I like stuckness.
I really appreciate the becoming of coming into being as opposed to be. A process of unfolding in a flow where my body feels the tingling, the words and breath as I speak. And my head, the pressure of thought and extracting every single word.
I feel pressure as well in trying to consciously form my thoughts in the right manner. And that feels a little uncomfortable temporarily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. This allows me to feel how foreigner would feel when, or an alien would feel when they arrive in a new land.
Yes, I think you ought to shift into a different state of mind to speak that way. So it's a different see,
So,
not this way. So I have not reached that state of mind yet.
I wonder also if simply speaking, allowing identity and class to drop away with the deep listening. This language almost assumes a connectivity that begins to be eliminated with the word to be, because there's an ownership, a separating factor that happens in the identity of the self. And the position of speaking then becomes a place of authority, perhaps not intending to be, but again, a more separating expression than looking through the same eyes.
What I reflect on what Letitia said, I basically separate myself from my perception of my reality, of what that looks like, to being in the moment. Being in the moment with what I feel with my five senses of what I am experiencing, what I experience. Unlearning very difficult.
That good trick.
That's a good trick.
Sounds like a robot.
Pigeon English.
Yes.
It shows the learning process for all of us, it seems to me. A kind of distance or space that is needed to express before expressing. Attention, care, slowliness.
I begin to notice the activity of listening as separate from awareness. The minor pause, the connectivity, and I'm using be on purpose here, because when one is speaking, And if there is only one of us here, then I'm both listening and being simultaneously. With the word is, there's an immediate compartmentalization that happens for me.
Right, right. As soon as you define things, then you're in trouble. So if you compare things, if you relate things to each other,
Mm-hmm.
you're good, right? Same with feeling. You know, if you feel things, if you sense, if you use your senses, you're good. As soon as you say, you know, I wanted to start saying, here is another way of thinking about it. Bam, you're back to defining things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say here is a thing, can't say that. But if I start with a comparison or sensing, I become more fluent in this quote unquote language, right?
The difficulty in doing this shows me how often we simply jump to the conclusion, we jump to an abstraction. This is what it is.
Right.
And seeing how often I do that myself, it teaches me that I do it much more often than I would like, just jumping to it. One could consider it cheating to say what it is.
There is power in defining, and the relativity, you know, in each breath, each moment, in the listening. What comes next is relative to the speaker. And the listener is also wanting to be in relationship to the flow of the words as a shortcut to assume or predict or come to a conclusion, to rush to feel connected in the soundscape.
Yeah. The prediction may serve as a kind of map. And I can't cite the quote unless I put it in quotes because I'll use that word. But you've heard what they say or what somebody has said about the map in relation to the territory. So we make a prediction about what we're going to do in the hopes that that will serve as a good map. Then we go ahead and act. And really, for all intents and purposes, then the map is no longer serving. It's already, excuse me, its job has already been done.
Is. Okay.
I suppose that if we use it consciously each time, it can be a very powerful tool. Like to say what something is does sort of create a reality right there. So maybe the problem could be set that if we do that too casually,
Yeah.
we're sort of wasting a rather powerful tool. But if you can use it consciously, if you know that right now you are in God mode, you're saying this is what it is. So it damn well better be what you really want it to be.
What this reminds me of is how our brain is structured. Our brain appears to be structured, and that it goes into autopilot of assumption, quick shortcuts, and hence the quote that comes to mind states that awareness of the space needs to be looked at between the stimulus and the response. I sense right now that's what I'm doing in every word that is spoken and word that I listen to.
So if you teach in a certain way where you are trying to define things, it becomes difficult. So there's a need to switch your teaching mode, right? Going away from a top-down preaching towards sensing, towards more of a receiving thing than saying what it is. Yeah, almost.
It seemed okay right there.
About listening to understand than to reply. I guessing that's the guessing Joachim wanted to state that.
Say that again.
The difference between listening to reply and listening to understand by receiving what we are hearing and attending to.
Yeah, maybe if you listen to reply, you listen long enough to decide, okay, that's what it is. That's what he said. So, okay, now I give him what it is in reply, instead of letting it continue as a process of mutual discovery and understanding.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to speak my voice. I find that linear thinking gives us all a very easy road to approach life, because we have all used that language, and the language has been given to us in a linear mode. So it's automatic to follow each other's thoughts, because we can almost fill the spaces. And I find that if you think of your relatives, friends, the ones that you're very close to, as soon as you start a conversation, you can complete each other's words because it flows in a linear fashion. And here we are definitely in a mode of unlearning, where we're putting aside our linear thinking and utilizing not even alternative, it's a new modality of conversation. Did I use the word yes anywhere? No.
Yes, once when you said we are in a new mode, that's where you started to define things. Otherwise, excellent.
Also at the beginning, when
Good point, too.
when you started, I am.
Oh, I didn't even notice it. Hmm. Concentrating on is only and eliminating R and M.
Well done, though, Simon, because you seem to be in flow in the conversation, except for those two errors. Not errors, just the word, the using be.
I feel happy to hear the word unlearning being used. Is that being a part of I and M? The word unlearning utilized more often because I feel that we we I cannot do it. we moving a new direction of thinking, and it defies all other fashions of communication. So we're breaking. We look like, that's hard to talk about definition and yet not using the word to be.
One thing that makes this difficult is if I just talk about what I perceive and what I feel, I think in most conversations, the listeners would have a tendency to then sort of expect, then what? Okay, now you've told us what you perceive, so now give us the conclusion, which is usually an is. So we often use just the senses and the more dynamic sensing thing as a lead-in to then conclude, now I have proven that therefore this is what it is. So if we don't do that, if I just tell you what I sense, I don't know if you then expect me to sort of summarize it with an identity of some kind. So then I feel pressure to present, okay, here's my analysis. This is me being nervous or something, instead of just letting it be. This is what I saw. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's a sort of an implied desire for a conclusion. That is characterized by the forbidden word. And I also said the forbidden word. So I hope the point was useful.
You made the point, Ron.
The conclusion. Once the conclusion occurs, then we can all rest. Everything's done. Our work is finished. The universe is all set. You can rest easy. Oh, I said it is.
Yeah. No need for presence.
No need for presence. Only rest.
My abstractions will stay behind.
Yes. My abstractions remain eternal then. And so does my rest. Whoops.
It's too funny. On the other hand, it feels much better that we don't need to constantly define who are we. It's always who are you? Who am I? We have that out of the conversation. We no longer need it. We exist rather than who am I.
Yeah.
It seems like even our language makes it a little difficult. Just like we find it a little uncomfortable if somebody starts a sentence without finishing it, because we want a whole unit of thought that sort of adds up. So kind of just existing and being present, grammatically it feels almost a little incomplete, like something is missing. Something in my brain feels I need more. Please give me the conclusion. What is it? What did you just say? Make it really square and clear and abstract.
That sounds like a creative tension. The desire for the goal and the impossibility of achieving the goal. All that's left is that
Is.
I said that's. yeah. Thanks.
Blame it on our compatriots from Greece and from the Latin world. Our language has been preset for thousands of years, and now we attempt to break that apart and see what comes out of that. For me, coming from educational background as a teacher and having had to teach my students proper grammar, speech, sentences and paragraphs, and now that all falls apart, it's mind-blowing. Oh, I said it's.
Oh. Remember Monty Python's It's? Do you remember the Monty Python's? They always said it's feature, or frequently had a frequency. Oh, I must have been, perhaps it was in the introduction. There was just some character who stood there for several seconds, and that was for the "it's" part of the introduction to this show. It was very funny, anyway. Sorry if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah, I watched many of them over the years.
There was this guy who's kind of just like "it's." Does make me glad to hear the emphasis on learning and unlearning, and also unfolding and being in a new land. Those things all make me glad. And we talked about difficulty, pressure, which reminds me of the strain of any new learning.
Mm-hmm.
Especially physical skills. Usually there is straining at first. It's just almost, it seems unavoidable, almost. So there's straining. No, I can't say that. So I have felt that straining when learning new things, especially physical skills. And then with practice, I've noticed less straining, and eventually very little strain, just like when we normally speak or walk. It takes practice.
I feel it similar when you're describing it. I feel it's similar as learning a foreign language.
Interesting.
As if the learning process is requesting stimulation from the same areas of the brain.
Anyone aware of different languages where the construction of sentences appears different? Leticia.
I'm not aware. I'm curious. Okay, I keep saying I am. It's always a disallowed word. But you asked me specifically, and I'm like, oh.
Put you on the spot.
The presence of an embodied experience is intrinsically related fully to the awareness in each moment for me to extract and condense information referencing the I seems simpler. It creates a relativity as opposed to sweeping generalizations or the assumption of the we as an exclusion. To speak for the we is to speak as an authority.
Yeah. Wow. That arrived home, the last part.
I remember many times in the past in a learning experience where that kind of thing has blocked me, where I try to learn something and somebody else feels they've already said what it is. So we've already said it. It is in the book, or it is like that because I said the statement, and I feel incomplete. I haven't learned it. I don't yet understand. I still feel in the process of learning it. I'm not ready to say what it is. But the teacher feels we already said it. It's there. It's on the blackboard, but I don't see it because it really isn't on the blackboard. Somebody says it's there. They pretend they have the authority of the we, that this now exists just because they wrote it on the blackboard. But it doesn't. It doesn't exist for me if I haven't grokked it and internalized it yet. So it's fake. It sort of creates fake teaching by just declaring, here it is. Usually it isn't.
So in a sense, it creates a kind of empathy training where you have to step inside the foot of someone else, see it from the inside of that person, that thing, as opposed to describing it, right? As long as you can do this, then you're good. But as soon as you try to distance yourself from the thing, you are not part of the thing any longer. You are describing it from the outside. Then it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
One could imagine a learning process where one rather would go on a journey of sorts, where one discovers certain things, and facilitators could maybe check whether the participants seem to discover what they're looking for or not. And they might use the test of checking if the participants are discovering things, rather than using the test of whether we already have said what it is, which is often what teaching degrades to. You've already gone through the curriculum, so there you go. It has all been set. So rather listen and look at the participants, the students, and try to figure out if they really are learning, discovering, acquiring the skills that they want.
So maybe a very good kind of learning is experiential, not didactic. I already said it. Let's see. I don't know. I like that kind of learning. Without having to say that it is. The kind of learning that's experiential. The kind of learning that I experience. And I put myself in the place of people who are ostensibly characterized as students, people who have the so-called title of student. I put myself in the place of the student because that kind of learning experience has really helped me. And so I try to spread that and carry that, pass it along that way. And so the learning is experienced. Yeah.
No, you were good as long as you were talking about your experience, your perception, Ron, you're good. But at one point you jumped out of your personal perception and tried to explain what it is, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there's a kind of software that can help you speak E prime. It would be easy to do because all the software has to do is to listen, look at the sentence structure, and tell you if you have spoken the wrong word or not, right? And then you can start a conversation with that software entity, with that agent, and become more fluent in learning E prime.
Try to see how fast you can end up doing it with.
That's right.
Maybe ending up doing it intuitively without having to think about it.
That's right. That's right.
We approach the end of the meeting. Maybe we should move on to a meta perspective on this meeting. We can go on speaking E prime or not as you want, but or we can or we can just examine how well this worked, this experiment. What do you think?
I really liked this experiment a lot because it brought me right into me. And as a visual, I have a split screen, so I'm looking at the words that are allowed or disallowed. And so even as I'm listening, I'm checking, but not inserting because I'm wanting to hone my own ear. I recognized when I was trying to speak myself. In the beginning, I didn't have the screen up, so I know that I didn't do very well. At the end, I was a lot more attuned. But I like being able to have this as an exploration because it creates a dynamic presence. And then the approach is fundamentally requiring us to embody our senses because that's part of the filter to be aware of our speaking. So it includes all the other exercises that you were doing prior to this, and I'm thrilled at the outcome, really, for myself.
it seemed to get easier along the way. At first, I was a little sort of stuck in the frustration of doing it. Now we screwed it up again, and we more sort of gradually moved into actually using this as a tool for going a bit deeper and examining what is that really about, or what's it. I don't know if you all experienced something similar, but it seemed like we became better at actually using this.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yes.
I also want to appreciate the gentle feedback, both of the self-awareness when you slipped out of it, and then the way in which feedback was delivered to anyone who was actually stepping outside, because it became then not correcting someone as much as noticing a process. And that was, to me, also very helpful, because it's a learning environment.
I found the fact that we were quite spontaneously laughing when we were picking up the forbidden words was easy, was making the process easy for realizing and laughing. The self-derision kind of process and realization was a soft one.
Yeah.
And positive and constructive and relaxed, enabling a comfortable environment.
Yes, yes. There was no authority in the room, right? The conversation was very open, and I wonder if it's even possible to have an argument using E prime. Maybe not, you know.
You appear, I feel that you appear like a bit of an idiot.
In some of the literature that I read, it's actually more likely to not have an argument, and that they weren't encouraging to speak this way all the time, but at the point of conflict to begin to shift into this mode, because it actually alleviates the authority exactly for that reason, and creates an openness for communication and potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. We've proven that today.
Yeah.
This reminds me of one of my great primary injunctions in life, which is to be able to have a sense of humor in common. And we definitely put that into action today. Because having a sense of humor in common, to me, is much more important than me having a sense of humor and you guys having to be forced to smile and laugh when you don't really feel like it.
Yes.
But this was genuine.
Right.
I think E prime requires one to actually not be something.
But I want to be someone.
It's relative.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, well, great. I don't know if we should do this once in a while or something. It's a very good exercise, but I can't say we mastered it, but we certainly dug into it. So maybe we'll find a way of bringing it back somewhere.
Right. You can do the opposite, Fleming. We only can use to be. I am.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah. We could do that.
I'm certain this is going to work.
Yeah. You can only talk about yourself. Yeah. Talk for yourself.
Yes.
No, that's cool. Anyway, that will be next. So we'll call this a meeting. So those of you who want to stay for discussing what's next, you can wait around a little longer. But otherwise, I think we'll end here. Thank you very much for showing up and having a little.
Conversation.
Yep.
Good. So yeah,
So,
there you go. Thank you for coming. Thank you for playing along, and see you all next time. Bye
Great.
for now.
Thanks, Fleming. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.